welcome back, everybody. Senate Avenue Brewing here in Jersey Village tonight. And by the way, let me just give a shout-out to Jersey Village's Senate Avenue Brewing. All right, this is a local favorite, community-driven brew pub. You feel that when you're in here, okay? You feel that. All the beer, IPAs, amber ales. Andrew's going to laugh at me because I'm trying to be a beer expert here right now, which I'm not as good a beer expert as I should, but I know this beer is good because I've had it. Malt forward styles, a lot of different creative stuff going on. They're always, conjuring up stuff there in their beer lab back there. I don't know what he calls it. But it's all small batched. It's all craft beer. It's all in-house. You're not going to get it out in the public. It's excellent. Excellent patio. Excellent food. Tonight, the Belogi Bowl. Pizza, wings, you name it, they have it here. TVs everywhere, monitors here. And I want to encourage you, Senate Avenue Brewing for the World Cup and soccer watching. Today they had on the Champions League, and they'll have Dynamo games on as well. So this is the spot to come. So Andrew's going to introduce in our next segment the legendary Earl Barrett, who's here tonight. So Earl just arrived. And he's going to introduce them. And Andrew, so you have to come back. You have to come back, Andrew, and intro the next segment. Okay. Great friend right now, ASN Sports TV. He is a good friend of mine. We met through the beautiful game. He is the one and only. I call him Super Eagle Sam because of the Nigerian Super Eagles. I hope you don't mind that, Sam, but his name is the legendary Sam Mbonu. Sam, how are you?
I'm okay, Glenn. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so happy you're here because we did touch on kind of the craziness around the AFCON, but you've been over to those tournaments. You've witnessed these things. I just want to get to start your perspective on the overall tournament in Morocco.
All right. I think this AFCON showcased African football, how far it has grown. Structurally, the stadium that was used, also the quality of soccer that was played. Even though there was some, questionable referee calls, but at the end of the day, it showed, how big the African game has become. And also, when you look at the caliber of players that played in that game, these players are top players in their various clubs. Look at Mo Salah. Look at the guy that got their goal against Morocco, Papa Gueye, played for Villarreal. Look at Sadio Mane. Even though he plays in the Saudi Pro League, he has won everything in club soccer. So, in overall, this AFCON, just like what CAF president, Patrice Motsepe said, that commercially, this AFCON generated a huge amount of revenue in terms of commercials that people bought into, and also the quality of play. And he went ahead to announce some little changes in the African soccer. Before, we had what they call the CHAN, where the local-based African players compete. And now he has scrapped it. Going forward, after the next two editions, the AFCON will be every 4 years. So in place, he now introduced what they call the African Nation League. Just like you have in CONCACAF, you have in UEFA and stuff like that, to fill in those gaps. So African soccer is growing in numbers, tactically, technically, and structurally.
He's Sam Mbonu, ASN Sports TV. Sam, where are you on Twitter? Just mention your Twitter.
You can follow me on Twitter at Sam Mbonu, SAMMBONU, and also on all the social media platforms that are just my name.
Okay, by the way, I will let you have Sam Super Eagle. You can do whatever you want with that. Or I'm going to rush home and I'm going to get that thing, I'm going to get control of that. All right, so I want to take you into something you just said. I think this tournament, for some reason, I just feel like there's more fans talking to me about AFCON this year. Like it might be striking a bigger nerve with people when it comes to all the things you just said. Did you get that sense that this year there was more interest in it, maybe just in the United States or maybe here in Houston?
I think when you look at what most confederations are doing, the CONMEBOL, the UEFA, the CAF, what they are doing, what they are doing, using social media, to create awareness for these competitions. bypassing, even though they have the conventional broadcast, the social media, the TikTok, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the X. So all these things played a huge role in making sure that the gospel of AFCON and other soccer tournament is spread. And that is why fans, were, talking about it. For example, by the time we got to the semifinals, all the 4 teams had African coaches, unlike before. And that shows that the era
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That shows that the era where you have foreign coaches coming into Africa. You
still have all these hired guns jumping in, taking the job, and they're gone.
Some of them. And all among the 4 teams that played the semifinals, 3 of them are coming to the World Cup. Among the 8 teams that play in the quarterfinals, 7 were coming to the World Cup beside Nigeria, and all have African coaches. So that shows how the game have grown in Africa, and that shows that the era where foreign coaches will come has kind of declined.
You know what I was very impressed with, and it really struck me, and I told everybody in the room prior tonight, I just thought the African teams in this version of the AFCON, from the standpoint of tactics and team shape and the tightness of their lines, their organization, it looked like it was a big step up to me.
Yeah, I think it shows how some coaches have grown tactically in an inverted wing back, showing that when you have great holding midfielders, you can dictate play. And also they show that some teams live for moment where a fine moment defines the game. Look at the finals. When Morocco were giving penalty, they missed it. Senegal came, Papa Gueye, 99 minutes. That goal was decisive goal of the AFCON. So moment dominated entire team play, where your team might dominate, but one fine moment of mistake and one fine moment of great play from the opponent, that would be it. For example, Nigeria, Morocco. Morocco really studied how Nigeria played. Look at Nigeria, their quarterfinal game against Mozambique. How they came against Algeria. Great game against Algeria. But Morocco studied Nigeria, and they clipped the wing backs, and they couldn't give Vito Osimhen room to operate, and they took it all the way to the penalties, and ultimately was used to decide who progressed to the finals. So at the end of the day, we saw AFCON that managers weren't afraid of experimenting one or few tactical things they learned. And I think that if African nations should give the African coaches more exposure, more refresher courses, I think they will help their country maybe to win the first African World Cup.
Hey, Sam Mbonu, ASN Sports TV. Hey, there's no better time than 2026, right? To Sam's point, listen to the clubs in the final that the Senegalese players and the Moroccan players play on, okay? So let me go through them. You got Nice, Strasbourg on loan from Chelsea, SAR, Lyon, West Ham, Everton, Monaco, Everton again, Villarreal. This is the starting lineups. Al Nassr, Sadio Mane, Bayern Munich,
Jackson,
Betis, Olympiacos, Real Madrid, Stuttgart, Roma, PSV, Torino, Marseille, PSG. I mean, that just validates everything you just said about where these guys are playing. It really is pretty remarkable. Okay, the final. We do have to talk about that because that put the black mark on this. So I played a little bit of the chronology of it before, but just your thoughts on it, because I know you did say to me earlier in the tournament when you and I were talking, you were a little suspect of Morocco's hosting it.
I think.
I mean, that nonsense that went on behind Mende. Come on.
When you look at during the AFCON, Morocco game against other nations, there were some questionable calls that made fans to start thinking, Morocco, are they being primed by the organization, by the organizers to win the tournament? And they, no disrespect, Morocco presented a fine team.
Of course.
Balanced technically, great players. Hakimi played for PSG, just won the Champions League, just won the French League, and all that. African Footballer of the Year. Brahim Diaz for Real Madrid, El Masraoui for Man United. So they have great team, balanced team. But at the end of the day, there were some calls that went in their favor that decided a lot of games. Their game against Cameroon, there were some incidents that the referee could have, decided differently, but he went in favor of Morocco. Look at the finals. Senegal goal.
I thought it was a good goal.
He should have at least looked at the VAR
For sure.
to have a second look. But he just blew, and that was it. Now, when Morocco now got the penalty, he was now forced to go to the VAR, and which I understand the emotional aspect of the game. So they felt that you're not going to cheer, we're going to stand up, to what we believe in. And that gave the commotion, and everything, went, and we saw how the whole thing play out. And at the end of the day, Senegal won. But I think, most of our Africans really want Senegal to win the tournament, looking at all the favorable calls that Morocco were getting. I, for one, I was going for Senegal. But one thing you should know is this. The AFCON has always been rivalry between the North Africans and the West Africans. Before these finals, North Africa have won the AFCON 11 times, while the West African nations had 10 titles among 4 nations. Look at the African Football of the Year award. It has always been North versus West. Osimhen, Lookman, then Hakimi came. Mane, look at when they all won. So it has always been that rivalry between the West Africa and North Africa. So I think Senegal winning it, a lot of West African nations, we are behind them to win it.
So I want to tell you a funny story about Sam. When I met Sam, he was doing commentary at the top of what is now Shell Energy on an Open Cup, the Open Cup 2 times ago.
2018.
Okay. So I was alive then. So I walk by and I hear this guy, and he's like really passionate. He's really into it. And I'm like, man, who is this guy? I got to meet this guy. And so he tells me he's from Nigeria. We start talking about that. So I said, hey, come on my radio show. So the first time Sam came on my radio show, it was probably not long after that, right?
Yeah, not long after that.
We did an interview, and not a single person knew a word Sam said.
I was so fast.
He was speaking Nigerian. So I said, Sam, you got to slow down. I said, I'm getting some of it. But, I mean, was the fastest talker ever. But you've done a great job. We
Nigerians, we speak fast. And, if I'm talking fast now, a fellow Nigerian will understand all I'm saying. But you'll be like, what? But at the end of the day, it's all about clarity and communication.
Well, you've done a great job of really kind of taking us through the AFCON. How much of a black eye is that final game on this?
What's that?
All the controversy and everything.
A lot of controversy.
Did that hurt the overall? Well, it does hurt the overall perception.
People pushing the narrative that should be a black spot on the African game, I disagree to that. Because when you look at histories of where coaches and players, Lionel Messi led Argentina on their walkout.
No, but the problem is a lot of people only tuned into the final. They don't see all the other good stuff that goes on in all the prior matches that were very entertaining, very interesting. And then they tune into the final and they see the craziness. Oh, it's just crazy again in AFCON. That's what they think.
No, it's not a stain on the African game. And I think the coach of Senegal, CAF, has given his suspension, which is rightly deserved. According to the rules of the game, he shouldn't have told his players to walk off the field. Yeah. But then, in the heat of the emotional
but then I got to go back beyond that. Before that even happens, they got 5 guys taking the towel of their goalkeeper. They got all. So it's not as simple as he shouldn't take his team off the field. There's a lot of stuff going on before that influenced him to do that. I know you can't do that. It's against the rules. But it's also against the rules to be diverting a goalkeeper's attention and taking his towel on a day it's raining. And
because he needed to, to maintain grip on the ball.
I'm still blown away at Mendy's concentration in this thing. I mean, honestly. Hey, by the way, I did want to mention, since we were talking the Dash before, the Dynamo. So I sometimes now call college games for the ACC, and I was down in the Research Triangle, Duke, North Carolina. I did some women's games. The Dash picked up 4 very, very, very good players. One from UNC, Linda Olmark, Kate Fossey from UNC, Leah Klenke, who's actually from Houston, who played for Notre Dame, and then Kat Radar from Duke. So there's not too many older people here, but if you knew the old Astros, there was a guy named Doug Rader who played for the Houston Astros. That's her grandfather. So some good genes there. But again, here's the dash. No communication, no transparency, 1,000 people at the games, if that. We got to change this. I mean, and you're not going to change it just by not being a club that doesn't communicate, that doesn't really become community, because the co-opting of the word just happens consistently. Sam, I want to thank you for giving us.
There's something I failed to mention at the AFCON.
Okay, real quick, you got 30 seconds.
While we are looking at the pitch, they showcase great sense of fashion. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
Fans. Sam Mbonu, let's give him a hand, please. It's one of the best. All right, we're going to take a break. Senate Avenue Brewing. Remind you, I-10 and the Marquee Entertainment Center, Hugh O'Connor's Pub. You can hit them up over there. Liverpool supporters group goes there. They've got games on as well. And now we are going to bring on, as a very nervous host I am sometimes, I worry about my guests, but I'm so relieved to see Earl Barrett and his wife, Keely, here. So thank you guys for making it. So we got 2 segments with Earl Barrett, and we're going to hit him hard tonight. We're going hard on Earl tonight. All right, we'll take a break. Senate Avenue Brewing, 16,000 Dillard.